Another week in the NBA here, and the game begins as it always does here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to one of the industry leaders out there, our friends over at Stokastic. We'll see who the top plays are, who the top value plays are. We'll also go game by game. We'll check the ownership along the way, see where the leverage lies. We'll hop over to Stokastic, run a sim, see who the top ROI lineups are. I'll do a hand build. By the end of this video, guys, you'll know all of the industry's must plays, along with my Splash Plays for today, February 9th, 2026. Let's get into it. Shout out to all you guys. It was a good Super Bowl yesterday. Appreciate guys like King Kelly Kell joining here as a new member. Saw him join the Discord as well earlier today. I love this chat too. I hope Luca and the fam enjoyed the culture yesterday. Luca did not watch much of Bad Bunny's performance, but by the culture, you could also mean the culture of watching Drake May soil his pants, as I've been predicting all year long was going to happen when he actually played somebody good. But the best thing I saw was Drake May getting the nickname The Schedule, Drake The Schedule May. From people on social media. That is perfect for a guy that, look, beat up, like I said it all year long, beat up on the tomato cans, beat up on the all the crappy boxers on the way to fighting Dredrick Tatum, much like Homer Simpson, and water found its depth last night. So we'll see how it goes. Appreciate all the kind chats from members here. Best free show in DFS. Thank you for that. Happy birthday. It's not my birthday, but thank you. It feels like it, though, again, with Drake May's failures being the greatest gift I could ask for. But yeah, shout out to you guys being out here. And again, if you didn't enjoy the halftime show yesterday, I get it. It wasn't in English, but pretty sick show. And it was one of those things where I am, as Fischler was implying there, I am fractionally Puerto Rican, so much like my own child is. So even though I didn't get to see the beginning of the show because I was doing Luca's bath, his bedtime, all that, didn't get to see most of it. Really thought it was a great performance, but also really did represent, Latinos in America, which there's a lot of us, even if we don't look like it, there's a lot of us out there. So felt like a nice way to push back without making it too shitty. So, if you're going to dislike the video, please don't do it for that reason. But, I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. We're still here talking NBA. It's all we can ever do. But keep an open mind when you see things like people, trying to preach with warmth, preach with love, all that stuff. It's what I try to believe for myself whenever I can. But your top projected plays, now that we've soapboxed about Bad Bunny, is he needed it. He's a guy not making millions of dollars, not banging beautiful women, all that stuff. He needed me to go, yes, this man is good. We got Nikola Jokic, top projected guy today. He is shocking me in the thumbnail, as you can see. 67.4 fantasy points for him right now in my data. Stokastic has him a little bit lower at 64.7. If you have a little bit of a rate boost to some of the guys that have played slightly better for having no Peyton Watson out there, no Aaron Gordon out there, in particular, like Julian Strother gets a lot more shots up for whatever reason. Jamal Murray, a little bit more as well. But Nikola Jokic projects incredibly well no matter what you're going to do, no matter what rates you're going to give him. And he's facing a Cleveland team that is certainly still good. Jaren Allen in the middle, but not quite as good as it would be if it had Evan Mobley available. So for Nikola Jokic in this spot, I think a good play. Fields at 44%. Right now, he's coming up in 50% of my winning lineups across 10,000 contest sims. And I did update some of the sim stuff over the last couple weeks as well, been making improvements on the back end to increase the accuracy, in particular for payout stuff, for trying to get dupes right and all that. So it's always things that I'm working on here to make sure you guys get the best possible product. But Nikola Jokic today is that best possible product, it seems. That projection so high, 12-1 salary with his minutes being back up. Got to remember, this is a guy that was priced $13K earlier in the year. Now you're getting him at 12-1 in a competitive game versus a Cleveland team that, much like most teams, probably won't be able to stop him. Jalen Johnson, downgraded to questionable. So we'll see if he plays today versus Minnesota. If he doesn't play, would certainly open up some more opportunity for really everybody else in Atlanta, because Jalen Johnson, as we know, is a pure stat stuffer across multiple categories. And when those stats don't go his way, they have to go somewhere else. But Jalen Johnson right now, 52.4 projection for me. Stokastic has him at 51.7. It's resulting in 11% ownership for the field, 17% for me across my winning lineups right now. I would be happy to get Jalen Johnson around that range. Think he's always a guy, if I get him above the field, not going to run away from it, because really he's one of our most live triple-double threats in the league on a nightly basis. But going against Minnesota, definitely a tougher matchup on paper for some of that stuff with Gobert in the middle. And just good wing defense across the board for Minnesota. But I'm cool with Jalen Johnson. Really would prefer to get to Jokic, but the ownership for Jokic is 4x the amount of Jalen Johnson. So if he plays, especially with that Q tag, kind of keeping that ownership in check throughout the day, definitely a spot where Jalen Johnson can, have the ceiling and be a little bit cheaper and provide, similar range of outcomes to Jokic if things go well. Cade Cunningham in the first game on the slate today, 8% owned by the field. I'm getting him at 9. Not a big stand there. My projection about 1.6 lower than Stokastic. Cade Cunningham about a 47-point projection for me. Rounded up 49 for Stokastic. But Cade in the spot for Charlotte. Not a great defense on Charlotte's side, giving, I think, about 116 points per 100 possessions. So well enough under league average there. Not one of the worst teams in basketball by any stretch, but not good. For a guy like Cade, the ceiling is always there. I think the issue for me is whenever you do have your Jalen Duren tier of guys, and now you also have Dennis Jenkins fully on the team, getting an actual contract. It does feel like Cade, to me, is priced more than where he needs to be at 10K. But Charlotte, a bit of a litmus test for them with their rise recently, at least looking more like a competent team that I think should make the playoffs or at least the play in. For Cade, maybe he gets his full run here, gets pushed to the limit by a Charlotte team that's been pretty feisty. Seen some comps on social media, people saying it's like, oh, last year's Pistons team facing this year's Pistons team in terms of the Hornets and their ascendance with the guys they have on the roster now. But Cade's not a guy projection-wise is coming up meaningfully for me. So those guys, if I get him, a little bit above the field, a little bit under it, just doesn't really matter. Cade, not a priority play for me, but certainly another guy that's a live pivot to Nikola Jokic and all that ownership. Jamal Murray, 10% owned by the field. I'm getting him at 15. Right now, my projection is at 45.6. Stokastic has him at 44.7. The big thing is the thing that we've talked about a lot for Denver in recent weeks, where with Jokic back in, with Murray in as well, obviously, no Peyton Watson, no Aaron Gordon. It's not like Cam Johnson and Christian Brown are getting up a ton of shots. Like, they're just kind of out there doing the same thing they've done the entire time. Guys like Julian Strawther shooting a little bit more, but despite getting starter-level minutes in some games recently, there's no guarantee that keeps up every single night. So all the possessions are going Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic's way. So in a competitive spot, going against Cleveland, think that it's a good situation to go to Jokic, and obviously the field thinks so too. But a lot less ownership for Jamal Murray, so you get kind of direct leverage on Jokic if you play him today. Get the projection, about a 5x value straight. Jokic at his salary, much higher projection, is still a 5.6x value. But again, if you want to get that leverage against Jokic, playing Jamal Murray, playing maybe another pay-up option besides him, could be a good way to do that. Donovan Mitchell getting the bit of a downtick in production with James Harden in. Right now, both guys around 44 fantasy points for me and Stokastic. I would have Harden slightly lower, gave these guys basically the same rates they've had the entire year, with the assumption that for Mitchell, he's had to deal with Garland being out there, Mobley being out there, so his usage shouldn't fall too much. And if it does fall a little bit, it'll still kind of come out in the wash with Harden now getting his old rates from the Clippers on this team. But basically, they look like the same player to me. The thing is that Harden's slightly cheaper at 9K. Mitchell, though, 9,500, slightly better projection. Really not a lot of ownership coming to either guy, but I would say if you are able to afford it, getting a Jokic and cutting that ownership product for him down a little bit by bringing it back, with the Mitchell, with the Harden, hoping one of them gets that ceiling, I think wouldn't be a crazy thing to do. If the game really went nuts for Cleveland, maybe both guys could get there, though I don't think you can afford Mitchell, Harden, and Jokic. Maybe Mitchell, Harden, and Jamal Murray you could do somehow. But I think trying to game stack that is one way to at least cut the ownership for Jokic, or, try to get leverage directly on it. But I think for Mitchell and Harden, the big thing is that they don't project super well. About 5% plays for the field, a little bit higher for me, but really not priority plays at their price tags right now. They're just both a little bit expensive for them and the roles they've had all year that should kind of be one-to-one with what they're going to get moving forward. Anthony Edwards, fields at 5%. I'm getting 4. My projection is, as usual, a little bit lower than Stokastic on Anthony Edwards, about 2.3 fantasy points lower. Not a priority play for me is Anthony Edwards. Really would rather try any of these other guys we talked about above him, but obviously going against Atlanta, not a bad defense that you're, in terms of the matchup for Anthony Edwards. Still could be competitive enough, especially if Jalen Johnson is in. But for Ant, I just feel like he's a guy I just don't often get in my data, and I don't think it hurts me too much. So if he goes for 50 real life points today, what it is. We weren't there, but I just don't see it right now in the projections. Trey Murphy at 8,200 facing Sacramento is the biggest boon you could get defensively, or one of them in the league. Right now, fields at 13% owned for Trey Murphy. My projection about 0.5 higher than Stokastic. I'm going to give him an 18%. For Trey Murphy, the big thing is that when you are facing a crappy defense like Sacramento, the chance for a true shot maker like Trey Murphy does get a little bit higher. The chance for him to hit his ceiling, rather, because he'll have more open looks. He can get hot, can maybe even squeeze a little more usage out than the sub 25% he normally puts up. But for Trey Murphy, it's still a full strength Pelicans team, so price tag at 8,200, definitely accounting for how good he's been this year. Hard to make a really big case for him because he's priced where he should be, but in terms of the ceiling, happy to get close to 20% of him all the fields at 13. And Isaiah Collier right behind him. So another guy playing big minutes lately for Utah. The question for me at this point for Collier is he playing so well that they maybe start to give him less minutes? With Utah clearly trying to make sure they are losing games whenever they have to. But facing Miami, they should lose this game no matter what for the most part. And if they don't play guys in the fourth quarter, it's likely going to be more of the Markkanen, Jaren Jackson tier. Lately for Utah, those are the guys that are sitting late in games, and Keontae George already out. So Isaiah Collier at 7,300. I think we're going back to him again. My projection higher than Stokastic again at 41.4. They have him at 39.7. Collier has yet to fail yet at this price tag. If I had to guess his price tag at this point, if they're going to keep giving him these minutes, should probably be 8K, maybe 8,500 even. Isaiah Collier's too cheap, and he's really been a great shot creator for other guys. And sometimes too, when he's not getting as many assists, he also then ends up getting his own shot. But he's just basically taking a possession no matter what, where he's either creating an assist or he's turning into a shot for himself. Those are the guys that we want to get to when they have unlimited minutes at their disposal, like Collier seems to have. Paolo Banchero was coming up a little bit more for me early in the day because for some reason my process of removing guys who were on the injury report took out Wendell Carter. So now that Wendell Carter's back in, Banchero not popping up so much for me. It is a soft matchup going against Milwaukee at this point. Adding a Cam Thomas in is not going to make that defense any better. If anything, will make it more prone to giving up more production and just gunning recklessly. But Banchero, ceiling is there for him always, but value also not there, as it pretty much always is for him. Fields at 3% for Banchero. I'm getting about 3% as well, but slightly lesser version of that. And Ryan Rollins, not a day for him today, in my opinion. Cam Thomas, not sure if he's going to be available or not because that was not, he's actually not on the injury report right now for Milwaukee, or wasn't as one of the earlier ones. Let me check the 2 o'clock to make sure. Yeah, Cam Thomas, you could see here, and not on the NBA injury report right now for the Bucks, so I'm not sure if that means that his signing hasn't gone through yet, or if it's that he's going to be available today and he just doesn't have an injury designation. If he's in, it's going to hurt Rollins and KPJ to some extent because you probably expect him to get at least that Cole Anthony role there. You're picking up 10, 15 minutes, something like that. He could play more, though, because Cam Thomas, I'd say a similar kind of reclamation guard project like a Ryan Rollins, like a Kevin Porter Jr., so he can easily get meaningful amounts of work. But right now, I don't think he's in the data set, so that's not something we're seeing in it. Rollins, to me, though, if you get Cam Thomas in, I just don't know how you'll play him, and he's barely a play as it is. Let's sort by value here, guys. And again, show some love for what many are calling the best free show in DFS. I should probably pull up the chat so it doesn't sound like shit. But as many are calling the best free show in DFS, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Goes a long way for me here. On Friday, you guys showed up in a major way. I said, really been trying to get 200 likes a video because it seems to me when we break that threshold, the view count goes up. Friday, we did that, and we also got 2,000 views in the video. So today, with the $5 DK tournament, 100K up top, I know we should get some decent views. So please help me out, all you guys watching. If you get any value to this video, if you're just going to fade everything I say, hit that like button and subscribe because it goes a long way for me. Just an independent creator doing the best I can to show you guys how I'm gambling on the NBA, and you can make your own decisions from there. Check out Stokastic as well. Working on a new affiliate agreement with them for the next couple months. So shout out to them for that, and also to you guys for checking them out. So go sign up over there. Any package, weekly, monthly, even yearly, it's all 15% off. Use the promo code SPLASH when you go over there to get that money off. And that's, again, a really good deal to hop in there, get access to all the cool sim tools and data. And really, the big thing that I always say is that you want idiot-proof lineups for DFS, Stokastic will give you those. And really, I say that in a positive way. Like, you can't fuck up. Even if you want to play the dumbest players, it'll give you the best possible lineups it can for those players. And that's really what I think for a lot of you guys is probably what you need. So check it out over at Stokastic. Link down below. Use promo code SPLASH when you get over there. And last but not least, join the channel here. $5 if you want to get to the live chats and the Discord. But if you also join the Scored Squad tiers and the VIP tiers, you get a lot more, including all the access to my SplashPlayPodcast.com site. And that's not just NBA data. That's MLB coming up, NFL as well, heading into next year. Any best ball stuff I put out too for NFL, that'll all be rolled up into one package. So really, in my opinion, I think I'm trying to give you guys one of the best deals in the industry in terms of what's going to help a lot of you people out there that kind of need to, I don't know, find a little bit more of a boost to your play. Even people I know that use Stokastic Sims have been using my data and pairing it with that and kind of able to find things in lineups they like. So join along for the journey here. Check out the channel and join really in particular Scored Squad tiers, VIP tiers if you want to get all the cool stuff that I'm building at the SplashPlayPodcast.com website. All right. Top values. So weird slate here because we are getting Devin Carter as our really a starter level minutes run for Devin Carter at this point. Sacramento calling off the key rotational players for the most part lately. Starters not playing fourth quarter run, the usual stuff we're seeing for these tanking teams lately as they all trying to find more and more ways to keep their picks and or gain some footing. But Devin Carter at 3,800 facing a Pelican team that we know defensively not that good. Carter himself also a pretty good per minute producer. Over the course of the year, Devin Carter is at Actually 23% usage, a 10% rebound rate for a small guy. Pretty impressive. He honestly plays a little bit like Westbrook with how he will kind of hog up some of the stats. And for what it's worth, Westbrook at 11% rebound rate. Devin Carter again at 10, but also a 21% assist rate, 0.96 fantasy points per minute. Counting for the matchup today with them going against New Orleans and the total and who's available for Sacramento, I would have Devin Carter closer to 1.04 DK points per minute. So 3,800 easily your top value. Probably should be, at least just as credible of a case to be the guy in the thumbnail today as Nikola Jokic. Devin Carter, just really strong minutes lately. I think he played 27 and change last game. Let me make sure I'm not talking out of my ass on that one. I should start using the Stokastic minutes tool, but I still use this one. He played 27 minutes last game. And that included closing alongside DeMar DeRozan in lieu of Russell Westbrook for parts. The big thing is that he will play minutes with Russell Westbrook, but there is still a push-pull dynamic to Westbrook and Carter. So if Westbrook somehow played better, or I don't know, I guess if he played worse, then you don't want to play him. But if he played in a way that Sacramento wanted to keep him on the court, that would theoretically eat into Devin Carter's minutes outlook. But right now for Carter, easily your best value on the slate at 3,800. And a guy I think you want to get to, Fields at 56%. I'm getting 82. And again, chalk becomes chalk because it is the best play in the slate, or one of the best plays in the slate. Theoretically, Devin Carter right now is a value, is your best value play in the slate, and deserves all the ownership he gets, whether things go right or wrong. Danny Wolf, same thing for him. No MPJ. For the Nets, no Igor Dioman as well. Cam Thomas obviously gone. So the rates for Danny Wolf take a decent jump up. And let's go back to NBA Wowie real fast so we can pull up some Nets data, because I think it'll be helpful to see Danny Wolf's rates. And I've already got him in my sheet. Let's put him in here too. Let's take off all three guys. So MPJ off, Cam Thomas off, Igor Dioman off. You got Danny Wolf at 1 flat DK points per minute. You've also got him putting up 24% usage, again, rounding up a little bit there. 6 assists per 100, make him one of the better assist guys on the team, just behind Traore, Saraf, and Terrence Mann. So for Danny Wolf, seems like good value once again. And really the big thing for him is that you get MPJ out. He gets a lot of those MPJ shots. Doesn't mean he'll be a great producer, but he's facing the Chicago team that's a mess. They're playing fast. Nobody's really dominating usage. I've not been wowed by Chicago so far. Brooklyn, obviously, they're trying to lose games. So if Danny Wolf plays too well, I suppose that's always a risk too. But power forward center, Danny Wolf looks pretty good. $4,900 salary. I have him at a 30.8 projection. Stokastic has him at 29.6. And that means he's in 53% of the field's lineups, and I have been 66.5% of my winning lineups. So Danny Wolf, strong play. Myron Gardner. So I'm giving him the 20 minutes that he got last time the Heat played. We had Pele Larson out. Pele Larson going to be out again. It had not been updated yet in Stokastic data, so I'm not sure exactly what they're going to read into Pele Larson being out. But Myron Gardner, decent producer fantasy-wise. Still not great value like Devin Carter is on paper. So Myron Gardner at 3,600 facing Utah, shooting guard, small forward. He made 5% of my lineups with him not really getting into the Fields lineups because, again, Stokastic got an updated for Pele Larson being out. But if I had to guess, Myron Gardner becomes like a 10%, 15% owned play. Decent value. Shooting guard, small forward helps him out a lot as well, but not quite as good of a value as a Devin Carter or the next guy we're going to talk about, who's also a Sacramento King. Dylan Cardwell, 4,600. So a lot of minutes to go around for him potentially with Sacramento again, kind of limiting the starters. Cardwell played 25 minutes last game that Sacramento played, and that was with, I don't know if when did he have foul trouble? So look at it in a separate tab because he did have 4 fouls in that game. No foul there. 2 fouls. Okay, now, so he didn't get into foul trouble until late. So Cardwell playing 30 minutes in a game where he didn't have foul trouble. That works. The big thing for him facing the Pelicans, power forward center at 4,600. He and Danny Wolf, I would prefer Danny Wolf, but I think for Dylan Cardwell should be more locked into his minutes no matter what, because there is a faint chance that Danny Wolf would get pulled for Brooklyn tanking. Dylan Cardwell, I don't think would have an impact on how Sacramento views things. So he'll be out there, and he's right now 42% owned by the field. I have Dylan Cardwell at 49%, actually 50% of my lineups, let's say, as a winning lineup player. So Dylan Cardwell, think he is a guy that comes out pretty well here. Again, I'd favor Danny Wolf by about 3.5 fantasy points, but Wolf, Carter, Cardwell, to a lesser extent, Myron Gardner, nice values to have on the slate. Julian Strother. So let me make sure that was the last game for Denver. But he started for Denver, one of the most recent games. Yeah, versus Chicago, he played 33 minutes, put up 24% usage as well, ended up with 30 DK points. Usage a little bit high, but he is a guy that over the course of the entire year has gained usage in an appreciable way when you take Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson off the court. So Strother at 4,200, shooting guard, small forward, another decent value here. I think he is still a better value play, slightly lesser value play, but a better projection play than Myron Gardner. Fields only at 16% on Strother. I'm getting him at 37, so does feel like a lesser owned value. But Strother, I would say one of your value pivots if you didn't want to play Carter, Wolf, Cardwell. I think you'd also play him with those guys, and you could then afford maybe a Jokic plus one more pay-up option, your Cleveland bringbacks, whatever else you want on the slate, really. But Strother, shooting guard, small forward, another good value here. And as we just saw, playing a lot of minutes, getting shots up in a way that I don't know that he's deserved, to be real about it, but he's an okay player. Like Strother on the year. Let me look at his numbers. 57% true shooting, so under league average, but not bad. 32% from three. Could be better. But overall in the year, putting up 19% usage and change. I actually did give him a rate bump for his usage without having the Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson out there. And it made his projection too high. So, like, frankly, if I gave him the rates he actually deserves, it would be even more of like a let's load up on Strother kind of situation. But right now, the field's only at 16%. So, to me, getting double that, I'm cool with it. Colin Sexton, he and Rob Dillingham, your backup guards for Chicago, but still Sexton getting good usage. Had over a 25% usage rate last game for Chicago on the year. With Charlotte, same thing, putting up over 25% usage. So he's accustomed to that off the bench gunner role. And really, it's a thing where he is getting some amount of unencumbered minutes without having Simons out there, with having Ivy out there. So Sexton, I think, looking good again facing Brooklyn. 27 is my projection that I have him. Stokastic has about 25.5, but he's getting in 31% of the field's lineups according to Stokastic, and 30% of my winning lineups across 10,000 contest sims. So Sexton again, another good value here. And it's a slate with these six guys, and Gardner being the one pulling up the rear, despite the way this is sorting right now in order. These six guys are all like solid values. Like, I think it's a nice slate to be able to get your pay-up options. Obviously, though, when you have that many values, that does mean people will play the pay-up options more. And like we saw with Nikola Jokic, like the reason you're getting 44% owned by the field for Jokic is because the value makes it real easy to get there. Isaiah Collier, 7,300. We talked about him already. Again, a value still coming up here as a top value, rather, despite being so expensive. The minutes he's getting right now are just too good. And the fact that Harkless is not getting real run behind him helps that out too. Jokic still a top value despite being 12-1, just underpriced for what he is in this situation going against Cleveland with the minutes being up for him lately. Terrence Mann at 4K, getting a little bit of a rate uptick with no Michael Porter Jr. Not a priority play, but a decent value pivot at 4K and shooting guard, small forward. Terrence Mann, the field's at 9%. I have been 17% of my lineups. Anthony Simons, been really unimpressive so far, in my opinion, based on his usage for Chicago, putting up under 20% usage, just moving to the Bulls, but he's trying to fit in. Teammates seem to like him everywhere he goes, so maybe they'll make things work out better for him long-term as he kind of adapts to his role. And honestly, part of the reason they might like him is that he is the kind of guy that would defer to his teammates, coming onto a new team. But Simon's playing Brooklyn here. I mean, it's a good matchup on paper. I just wish he were shooting more so I can go like, oh, he's shooting a lot, but he's been missing. It'll get better. He's just not shooting, and he's not really creating assists at enough of a rate because so much ISO ball and a lot of just dumb shit plays. You guys probably saw that Jaden Ivey play going viral on social media of him like trying to throw a baseball pass at a guy, and he just was like fucking walking with the ball like he was glitching out in a video game. It was really insane. They just like don't know how to play with each other at all right now. So I guess I get why Simons comes up. I don't think it's an exciting play. Fields is 16%. I'm at 20. And Jeremiah Fears, our last of the top values, 14% owned by the field. I'm also getting the same amount here at a rounded up 14%. Projection on Fears is about 22.6 for me, 22.8 for Stokastic. But it is one of those things for Jeremiah Fears where he is getting more potential run because having no Alvarado out there. But it's still a Pelicans team, like we've talked about here. They don't want to play small guards too much. They're happy to not do it, whenever they feel comfortable with it. I mean, obviously the starting unit being the best example of that. So Fears really has to earn his run. Maybe against Sacramento he can. Shout out to all you guys signing up here. We got Best Diesel here joining. We got Sean, a new member. Appreciate all you guys being part of the community here. And of course, you guys too can be a part of the community as we head over to the game by game view. Before we get into that, guys, again, please do show some love like these fine gentlemen have by hitting that like button and subscribing. Again, goes a long way for me here. I'm just one dude doing the best I can, prepared, put together cute little thumbnails, do all the things here Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. to make you guys prepared for NBA. And you guys have been showing love back. I mean, I love my good friend Josh Engelman as much as anybody in the industry, but we've been beating the strategy show for Stokastic out in views, and that's not me puffing out my chest or self-fellatio or anything like that. It's just like I feel really proud of what we've done together, what the work I've put in, you guys supporting and being a part of that and listening to me and doing stuff. That's the hardest part. This constant thing is getting people to listen to you and do what you want. And of course, I will keep doing the work as best I can for NBA, soon for MLB, coming up next season for NFL again. There will be NFL best ball stuff coming out as well. That's the Splash Play promise here as we keep things going. Of course, Stokastic as well. Check them out. All their data, all their tools. Again, idiot-proof DFS will give you great shots at winning money. I mean, yesterday in the showdown, I played Stokastic lineups. I will say that I was 1v1 away from winning all the money. Literally would have been a three-way tie if Stokastic had not given me Patriots D over Matt Collins in that one lineup. If I talk about it out loud, it makes me want to hang myself. But it still shows, though, that, like, that's what you get, that kind of upside. All I did was limit my salaries on that slate, made a few player boosts, ROI boosts, things like that. And I had a lineup like that would have literally finished, tied for that first place $1 million share. That's what you get on Stokastic. And, it's the biggest fish story right now, but my biggest fish story could be your actual catching a fish story. So check it out for yourself over at Stokastic. Link down below. Use that promo code SPLASH for 15% off. And last but not least, you want to get all the cool stuff on the SplashPlayPodcast.com site or to be part of the live chats in the Discord, $5 to join. If you want the data here, including this very matchup screen, that's on the Squirt Squad tier if you join down below for $25. Matrix screen, same thing here. You can see all the players and all the key data. You can sort by sim percentage, fantasy points per minute, the value metric, my projection, all of that on the Matrix screen. If you join the VIP tier, you get my projections exportable, and then whatever way you want to use them. You get my simulation data as well, and you get an export for Stokastic for DraftKings and FanDuel. So check it out, SplashPlayPodcast.com if you want to learn more, or join down below, particularly the VIP tier, and you'll get everything I have to offer, not just in NBA, but across all the sports that I cover. All right. Just like, subscribe, give a hand job to somebody, if not me, to somebody out there. And there we go. All right, boy, we're converting members today. Shouts to all you guys joining. I guess everybody's football rich, right? So shouts to all you guys who made some football money, but it's towards NBA because I promise no matter what, I'll be here doing the work. All right, Detroit at Charlotte, 222.5 combined points here. Detroit, 112.5 on their side. Nothing really coming up too much for me. Cade Cunningham at 9% of my winning lineups. Fields at 8%. For Cade, at this point, 10K salary. Think the matchup's good. Think he's one of those guys we talk about a lot in the show where people don't want to give up that late swap flexibility, and they give up on guys like Cade Cunningham a lot. And I get it because the projection doesn't scream out. But Cade, we know if the game breaks his way, he could put up 60, 70 fantasy points, all that. So for Cade, that's the biggest case I can make for him. But really for Detroit right now, with everybody in, just don't think it looks that great. Charlotte on their side, my highest sim player here. This is part of the fuzzy matching. It's not actually Trey Mann. It just thinks that Trey Mann and Terrence Mann are the same guy, so ignore that. Brandon Miller, 14% sim exposure. The Field's at 12%, so Miller coming up a decent amount here. It is a tough spot for really anybody trying to get shots up against Detroit's wing defenders. Really one of those matchups I don't like to play into too much. But Miller, a guy at 7,500, small forward, pretty much always tough to fill on NBA DFS slates these days. Miller, I'm cool being above the Field here at 14%. The Field's at 12. It's not a meaningful stand that matters too much. Con Knipple around the Field's 14% as well. Moussa Diabate, I'm getting 11%, and the Field's at 10. Again, nobody here is a great play, but I do think your core Hornets with Miller, Knipple, Moussa Diabate, to a lesser extent, LaMelo, I think can be interesting. But you got a lot of point guard value you want to get to, I think, on the slate. Don't mind Charlotte here, and really for Charlotte, real life basketball stuff. This is a pretty big litmus test for them, so maybe they get something going a little bit more today. Shout out AJ Love. Shout out all you guys joining. Really great to see this time of year. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's everybody join. If everybody who watched my videos joined, guys, I could fucking hire a data team. let's all keep joining. But shout out to all you guys who have joined. I appreciate it a bunch. Chicago at Brooklyn here. This game will have a little bit more for us to talk about. So again, Matas Buzelis coming up a good amount, but the big guy here is Colin Sexton. Fields at 31%. I'm getting 30. Like I talked about, he's coming off the bench. He's going to be your backup guard, but that does mean giving him a pretty good run where he won't have to compete with compete for shots with Jaden Ivey, with Anthony Simons. But Sexton, bench guy, 31% owned. Fields at 30%. Matas Buzelis, 13% owned. I'm at 22% right now. Buzelis, the rates got him a little higher for him last time out for Chicago after he deferred a lot in that first game. I think the pace kind of got away from him as well. And the debut for a lot of his teammates coming in with Simons and Ivy. The second game, though, he put up 25% usage. So Buzelis, still think there's going to be a commitment to getting him the ball to some extent. But really with Simons, with Ivy, with Jalen Smith seemingly going to be back in today after being through shoot around, Dillingham and Sexton, the second unit. There's a lot of guys buzzing around trying to get their next contract, their next team, their whatever the deal is. I don't think it's great for Buzelis in his development right now with as a guy that was getting a lot of shots up with Giddey off the court and Kobe White off the court. So Buzelis didn't juke his rates or anything, but I'm still getting him in 22% of my lineups. Fields at 13. You make the case based on his historical rates without Giddey on the court that he should be projected a little bit higher, but I'm getting him above the field. So like, I think this is enough for me with Buzelis. I just kind of want to see what Chicago turns into more as they get a few more games on their belt, get closer to 1,000 possessions of playing with each other, because the team right now is just like a mess of nobody getting shots up in a real way. And they don't look super good fantasy-wise. Anthony Simons, 20% for me. Fields at 16%. Again, looks decent here. At some point, he'll shoot more and probably shoot better on this Bulls team. For right now, though, he's out at a 20% usage so far in the games that he's played for them, so it's not been compelling role for him. But for Simons, don't have an issue being above the field by a little bit here, but not a priority play like he and Jaden Ivey have been on recent slates. And Ivey himself still hanging steady at a 0.86 fantasy point per minute producer. Not very good, but there is opportunity to do more. I mean, he's handling the ball more. He's out there more than he was in Detroit. But Ivey at 5,300, again, not a priority play. Fields at 12%. I'm getting 10. Brooklyn on their side, we got Danny Wolf coming up the most for me and for the field. Fields at 53%. I'm at 67. Earlier in the video, talked about Wolf and his rates, getting the shots up, getting good assist rates with Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas off the court, along with Yeoman, who's also out today. Danny Wolf, wish the shooting were better for him. 51% true shooting on the year, 32% from three. I feel like his free throw shooting indicates he maybe should shoot a little bit better at some point. But really for him, he's getting all the shots that MPJ leaves behind. Clowney will take some of those kind of chuck it up from the wing threes as well. But I think Danny Wolf, they want to develop him, you would think. So at 4,900, he's one of those guys, kind of like a Cardwell. You assume he'll be safe getting run, even though the Nets can play a lot of guys. And really nobody here playing over 30. That's in the data right now. Zaire Williams, Fields at 23%. I'm getting 10. Not a big stand there. Nolan Traore, I feel like he should be better than he is. He gets usage. He gets assists. He's just a terrible shooter so far at only 49% true shooting. Really, one of the worst guys playing NBA minutes so far this year in terms of his shooting. But at some point, I think he will produce a little bit better. It might take until it's like full garbage time and it's just, 8 Nets playing out there in April. But for Nolan Traore, Fields at 22%. I'm getting 16. At 4,500, I do think he's probably a little bit underpriced, especially compared to how he will be, I don't know, year of seasoning, if he keeps any sort of role in the team. Noah Clowney, Fields at 15%. I'm getting 9. Not a priority play, but he does gain a little bit as well from having Michael Porter Jr. off the court. And Terrence Mann, only 23 minutes projected, but at 9% owned, I'm getting 17. A decent value at 4K, shooting guard, small forward, so a pivot to some of the better value we've already talked about. I'll answer this question when we get to Sacramento, but I appreciate you signing up, so I don't want to leave you in the lurch. You don't need a data team when you have Claude. I think you'd still use a data team. It could always be better. More people will theoretically make it better, but it just comes down to, is it worth the money you do to that? But I don't know. I still want to grow things somehow. I just want to pocket all the money. I want to put it back to useful ventures here for Splash Play. Utah at Miami, 239.5 combined points here. Utah with 116 implied on their end. Pretty good total. So feels like a spot where the Jazz are going to be trying a little bit. The Field's at 38%. I'm getting 39 and change for Collier. We talked about him already before. I think at his minutes and role right now, being the only point guard, creating a lot of offense, really seems like a situation for Collier where you should be with the Field on him until that price tag comes up to about, in my opinion, 8K on DraftKings. Miami on their side, nothing looks that great here despite getting Pele Larson out. But I did get Myron Gardner a little bit more at 5%. I think Stokastic may give you more Norman Powell now that we do have Pele Larson out. Field was already at 11%. I was only getting 6. But Miami, despite the good total, they are pretty much full strength despite missing Pele Larson. You got a lot of bodies they could throw at the situation. A lot of guys taking usage. Guys like Khalil Ware getting minutes again. All of a sudden, it's not great for the overall production of the Wings. Many of those guys, especially Pele Larson, have had some of their biggest days because they're getting more rebound stuff because they have been playing the two big lineups with Bam Adebayo and Ware as much. Now they're going back to that a little bit, so I guess Ware must be back in the good graces. But Miami, when getting Ware back in and having most of these guys healthy, I just don't see anywhere you would want to go to Miami that feels like a prominent spot besides Myron Gardner. May have missed this. I'm on shows Friday and Saturday right now. Nothing else because I got rid of Deeper Dive. So me and DK not in the mix for their daily shows. But you got the Greg Prop show. Check it out. They're doing a good job. I've thought about adding another show for me, but I just don't think I could do it, parent-wise, where I might at some point do another show and just do 2 a day for NBA. That's not in the cards right now because things are working well. But I appreciate you asking. Check out their stuff. Really, my data will be updated throughout the night no matter what. So that's why I'd really recommend using if you want to hear my takes because my projections are my takes. Milwaukee at Orlando, 219.5 combined points here. Again, with getting Cam Thomas in, I think this is going to look different. Right now, though, the field's at 16% Kevin Porter Jr. I got him in 13% of my lineups. KPJ always getting impacted a bit projection-wise with Ryan Rollins in my data. But that said, KPJ, I mean, I just say it. I love Ryan Rollins. Think he's a cool player. Would love to see him be the 10 commander for a team where he's getting all the shots up and running the offense and all that. But KPJ being in is like hurting Ryan Rollins really bad. He's got bigger upside in pretty much every spot. He also seemingly creates a little bit more steal-wise, all that stuff too. So KPJ is the priority play here. But I do think if Cam Thomas plays any minutes today, you have to knock KPJ down a little bit. Getting another body in who's another high-usage guard is not a good thing for Porter Jr. or for Rollins, though I think Rollins will suffer more, unfortunately. Or poor Rollins, by the way. It's always my boys, but it's like these guys that get a role, like an uptick in role, and then it's like, oh, well, now they kind of find their depth because the team doesn't want to give them too much. But like Rollins thinks he's going to get Grimes pretty bad. Like he's going to get shunted down the rotation. Maybe not for Cam Thomas, but like I'm not sure that he's going to get invested in as much as he might deserve with how he's played this year. But, you know, you may feel differently. Orlando, 115 implied points here. Suggs, the high man again, just a little bit underpriced at 6,800. With his minutes being up lately, his production being good as well with Franz Wagner being out. But Franz Wagner expected to be back in on a hard minutes limit. Stokastic still giving him 26 minutes. Might be lower than that with Franz Wagner coming back from an injury that he had previously re-aggravated. So for Franz Wagner, he's not a play. But him being back in kind of knocks everybody besides Suggs down enough. And really all of them take massive rate increases, especially Suggs and Anthony Black with having Franz Wagner off the court. I think Franz being in for 26 minutes really hurts everybody meaningfully. I think it's possible that Franz plays like 20 minutes, does the Ty Jerome kind of deal. In that case, you might get Black, Bane, Banchero a little bit more, but probably not a crazy amount. Atlanta at Minnesota, 237.5 combined points, one of our better totals on the slate. Atlanta, with that downgrade for Jalen Johnson, would be really impactful here because you would probably get, I guess you'd get Mo Gay starting alongside Okongwu, but Okongwu would look better. I mean, everybody would look better here. Actually, real fast, let's look up the rates for Atlanta. Because offhand, I don't know what the rates are for Porzingis, Jalen Johnson, and Treyoff. All right, so your big winner would be Okongwu, putting up 1.12 DK points per minute, about 900 possessions. So that feels pretty stable. That's really, not a massive increase in his production. Then you get Alexander Walker at 0.9. Kennard and Vic Krejci, I mean, we could take them off, but the sample size would get too small, so let's not worry about them. Dyson Daniels at 0.9. Austin Newell at 0.91. Reza Shea at 0.96. McCollum at 1.1. That's an appreciable uptick for him. Just need somebody to create shots, probably. So nobody looks fantastic for Atlanta if Jalen Johnson's out, but they all will look better. And McCollum at 6,100, I think, would become a more legit play. But yeah, for right now, with Jalen Johnson in, he's the only play you want, I think. I'm getting him at 17%, Fields at 11. If Jalen Johnson's out, Okongwu's got to come up, but I don't know if anybody's going to look awesome here. Minnesota, 122.5 combined points or implied points on their side. As we talked about earlier, really nothing coming up for Minnesota. Fields at about 10% of Randall and Gobert, 5% of Anthony Edwards. Certainly somebody could hit a ceiling here. Going against an Atlanta team that does give up points in bunches a lot of the time. But really, Minnesota's not a team I could see prioritizing. Sacramento at the Pelicans, 231.5 implied point or combined points here. Implied total of the Kings at 112 makes Devin Carter and Dylan Cardwell come up a lot. For the rest of the Kings, don't think you want to play Westbrook, though. Theoretically, if he played 30 minutes today as opposed to 26 and change, that would eat into Carter's minutes projection because Westbrook, any extra minutes he takes, I think have to come off Carter's plate based on what we saw earlier on the rotations. But I think for how Devin Carter looks, still a great value at 3,800. And I would say to me, like, I think he's going to make 70% of my lineups. Right now, getting him in 80% of my winning lineups. I think he's a strong play today, and I would be much closer to locking him than I would be fading him. Dylan Cardwell at 4,600, not quite as cheap as Devin Carter at 3,800. That said, the field's at 42%. I'm getting him in 50% of my winning lineups. Dylan Cardwell playing decently at 1 fantasy point minute on the year. Accounting for the matchup, which is not great on paper for a guy like him against the Pelicans. The low pace does decrease your rebound opportunities and stuff like that. Cardwell, I've only got a 0.91 fantasy points minute right now, so he's been better than that on the year. I think he's still a good play. I would just certainly favor Carter, who I think is a beneficial matchup for. Cardwell, maybe a little bit less beneficial. Pelicans on their side. Sadiq Bey, I'm still getting him in my data. My 34 projection higher than Stokastic's at 32.4. His salary at 6,600, back to a reasonable range as well. So certainly the Bey upside, we've seen it happen enough times against Sacramento. That can be one of those spots he just racks up a bunch of different stats and ends up putting up 50. Not saying that's the thing I expect to happen, but happy to have 22.5% right now. Fields at 19 for Sadiq Bey. Trey Murphy, we talked about earlier. I'm getting 18%. The Fields at 13. I think he's a strong play in this kind of matchup where we know Sacramento gives up a lot of points. Who's going to score the points? Perhaps your best shooter on the team and one of the best shooters in the league. So for Trey Murphy here, getting him at 18% again, I think that's a good mark. Herb Jones, never really my kind of guy, but he's in 16% of my lineups. The Fields at 15. Fears as a value looks okay, but really the minutes aren't going to get terribly high. That's the tough part for him. But I have him in 14% of my lineups, which is dead even with the field. I'm low on Zion as usual, low on Derek Queen, which has been the case lately with his minutes getting jerked around too much. Only about a 26-minute projection from Stokastic. Going against Sacramento, you want to tell me that Derek Queen puts up a triple-double today and steals minutes away? That's not crazy. It's just not going to be there in the projection. And you still have 5x value, so maybe boost Derek Queen a little bit and hope you get the good outcome. This could be a tank-off kind of game. I feel like the Pelicans have not been doing that as much as other teams yet. But I don't know. It's like the NBA, I hate that you have to talk about this shit. It's like, I just want to assume that every team's going to try. Well, you really can't assume that this year in the NBA especially. Last game on the slate, we got Cleveland at Denver, 239.5. And I think this is the only game, too. The night slate's not on FanDuel, I don't think either. So I'll show you guys the night slate briefly, but last game in the main slate, I think, for both sites today. Cleveland, 119 implied points here with Mitchell and Harden having similar rates, similar usage, all of that. I have them both netting out at about 1.3 fantasy points per minute. Jared Allen getting a rate downtick. He's normally been a killer with Evan Mobley off the court, but having Harden in does hurt that upside quite a bit. These three guys, though, I think are the ones you want. Jared Allen's at 9% for me. Harden's at 7%. Donovan Mitchell's at 5%. But not really big stands here. Do you think one of the ways that you can cut that Jokic ownership product if you want to play him with about half the field playing him is play a Cav as a bring back, and then if they hit a ceiling in a competitive game, which this looks like only a 1.5 point spread and the best total on the slate, certainly Harden or Mitchell can beat out their projection, I think, if the ball just goes their way a little bit more. Nuggets on their side, Jokic the priority play here. 50% of my lineups have been as coming in the winning lineups, that is out of 10,000 contest sims. Field right now expected to own him at 44%. I always talk about in the show, like when it's too easy to get to the pay up option, it does sometimes make that pay up option less appealing because the entire field's going to be there. But for Jokic in a competitive game where they're a 1.5 point favorite, going against a Cleveland team that's still finding their depth with having Harden and Mitchell together, I feel like Jokic would put up 80 here and it wouldn't shock me. So he'll be in half my lineups tonight, no matter what. But I do think you make the case, like the field's already there. Just roll the dice with your other pay up options or just a more balanced build. But Jokic in this situation, I'm not going to fade him. Especially with him looking about 3 fantasy points higher in my data than Stokastic's. Julian Strother, like we talked about, a good value. His usage rates baffle me with the various nuggets that they're missing, in particular Gordon and Watson. But the field's at 16%, I'm at 37%. And Jamal Murray, I'm at 15%, the field's at 10%. Again, I think really getting exposure to these guys all looks good. And Strother and Murray, to some extent, leverage against Jokic. In particular, Murray, like if Murray puts up one of his classic outlier scoring days, creates some extra assists, Jokic probably hits his outcome a little bit less frequently in those kind of situations. So Jamal Murray at 10% owned, I think stands out from that capacity. All right, so real fast, we'll look at my sim data, then we'll hop over to Stokastic, look at their top sim ROI lineups. But again, this is what you get as one of my VIP features, guys, so check it out. Again, 10,000 contest sims here, and I'm always working to make sure the accuracy is as good as can be with the Claude coding stuff. Not anything I'm really tweaking on my end, besides giving it direction and making sure it works right and looks how I think it should. But right now, Devin Carter making 82% of my winning lineups across 10,000 contest sims, so it looks like a play you want to smash it more than not. Danny Wolf, 7% of my winning lineups have him. Jokic, 50. Dylan Cardwell, also 50, just ahead of Isaiah Collier and Julian Strother, who make 40% of the winning lineups. Guys who score 30 plus the most, Jokic, Jalen Johnson, Cade Cunningham. 40 plus the most, Jokic, Jalen Johnson, Cade Cunningham. 50 plus the most, same thing. 60 plus the most, same thing. Guys who 5x the most, Devin Carter, 94% of the time, he'll hit 5x value. Danny Wolf, 87% of the time. Myron Gardner, 82% of the time. So again, curious to see what Stokastic has when they update for their stuff. Don't think he's going to be super guaranteed a bunch of minutes. Played 20 last game with Larson out, but he gives you 20 at 3,600. He might be more of a play than it currently looks like. Guys who 6x the most, also Devin Carter, Danny Wolf, Myron Gardner, Strother, Cardwell right behind them. Let's see what Stokastic sim, guys. Looks like they just updated too, so that's always nice to see. Contest generator, here we go. Or we'll build 5,000 lineups, have them compete 10,000 times. Wait a minute, what? Hold on. I just saw they had an update. I must have clicked the wrong thing. All right, they don't have an update. Fuck me. So here's what they have from a couple hours ago. Nothing's changed that much besides the Larson thing. Guys, before I show you that, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You guys know the deal here. It just means a lot for me as I show up Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. So you guys hit that like button and subscribe. And the big thing on YouTube is that when you hit the like button, it does help me get through whatever algorithmic kind of glass ceilings I'll say they put on, where the more you guys hit the like button, every time the videos hit over 200 likes, it gets 2,000 views. That's sort of how the math goes. So if you can give me 500 likes, let's do some experiments, but keep hitting the like button, guys. The goal is to keep doing the work as best we can, keep growing the channel as best we can as the NBA marches on this channel throughout the NBA Finals. Of course, check out Stokastic too. Again, big way I'm able to do what I do here on this channel is thanks to Stokastic. So click the link down below and use the promo code SPLASH over there so you get 15% off. And I get attribution for it. But if you click that link for Stokastic, you can get that 15% off any monthly, weekly, even yearly package. And last but not least, $5 to join here if you want to get into the live chats and the Discord. If you also want to get my data on the Squirt Squad and VIP tiers, that'll be your ticket there. And learn more on splashplaypodcast.com. You can see all the data I show you guys here on screen, updated throughout the night whenever there's a key update. Updating all my stuff, pushing the updates to splashplaypodcast.com. So check it out right now and join if you can, because it does mean a lot as we try to keep building the channel up. All right, top ROI lineups. Again, having been updated a couple hours ago, so really Pelle Larsson being in is still the one thing that needs to be changed. We got Jaden Ivey in the number 1 ROI lineup. Desmond Bane, Julian Strother, Zion Williamson, Musa Diabate, two guys that are not really on my radar hugely today. Devin Carter, Dylan Cardwell, Nikola Jokic, all those guys are. So the Bane, I mean, really, Ivy, Bane, Zion, Musa Diabate, not guys I'm stoked about. The other four, I mean, I'm going to be with very heavily. Number 2, you have Jaden Ivey again, Devin Carter again, Zaire Williams makes this one, Matas Buzelis makes this one, Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, Zion, that's a lot of Pelicans, and Nikola Jokic. Obviously, soft matchup going against Sacramento. Pelicans, one of the better totals on the slate in that spot. So, again, Stokastic loves a good Vegas total situation, and for the Pelicans, game stacking them up here seems noteworthy. Number 3, Jalen Suggs, Jaden Ivey, Julian Strother again, Buzelis again, Derek Queen again, Devin Carter, Dylan Cardwell, Nikola Jokic. So that Carter, Cardwell, Jokic grouping coming up a lot here. But similar guys coming up in the number 3 lineup. Number 4, Nolan Traore, who we talked about before. He needs to shoot better, but he's doing stuff out there. Devin Carter, Terrence Mann, Matas Buzelis, Wendell Carter, James Harden, Dylan Cardwell, Nikola Jokic. Yeah, I mean, you're getting the same Carter, Cardwell, Jokic, no matter what. Number 5, KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr., again, with the assumption that Cam Thomas is not playing today, even though I think he might. Jeremiah Fears, Zaire Williams, Danny Wolf, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Dylan Cardwell, and Devin Carter again. So Jokic, Cardwell, Carter made all these top 5 lineups. Noteworthy. Your highest ROI guys, Devin Carter, number 1, James Harden, number 2, Matas Buzelis, number 3, Dylan Cardwell, number 4, Nikola Jokic, number 5, just had a Zion and Day'Ron Sharpe. Highest exposed guys across 150 lineups. Devin Carter makes 96% of Stokastic's top 150 lineups. So that's a noteworthy stand there. It's like I said before, your Devin Carter, not a lock button play to me, but really about as close to that as you can get. Do think there's some vague minutes risk, but Sacramento doesn't want to play their stars anymore. Stars. So Carter, good producer, facing the Pelicans. Hard to fade on the slate for sure in Stokastic data. Nikola Jokic, number 2, 74% exposure, fields at 44. Massive stand on Jokic. So even with those concerns that when it's really easy to get to the top pay-up option on the slate, everybody will do it. Stokastic's still saying he's worth doing that with 74% exposure. Dylan Cardwell makes 68% of Stokastic's top 150. The field's at 42. Another massive stand. Not a surprise based on what we saw. Carter, Jokic, Cardwell. We just pointed out they're in all those top ROI lineups. Danny Wolf, 64% exposure. Fields at 53. He's not quite in that same Carter, Jokic, Cardwell tier, but about as close to that as you can get. And a massive drop-off. You have Wolf at 64%, Cardwell 68, Jokic 74, Carter 96. Then it's Collier at 35. So really this core 4 here is like the whole thing according to Stokastic. But Collier 35%, Fields at 39. I like Collier more than they do. But that said, he's not a value at this point like the other guys that they've kind of have decided to give you here. Highest leverage plays according to Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Devin Carter, 41% more in the field. Jokic, 30% more. Dylan Cardwell, 25% more. Again, not a surprise with what we've seen throughout this video. Matas Buzelis, 11% more in the field. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but I do think they want to get him shots, if he'll take them. And Danny Wolf, 10% leverage for him. So that Cardwell, Jokic, Carter, Wolf grouping coming up clean in the Stokastic data. Your biggest fades in Stokastic data, Colin Sexton, negative 12% leverage. He's still in about 20% of lineups, but the field's at 31. Herb Jones, only 5% of lineups have him. That's a negative 10% leverage. Julius Randle, negative 8% leverage. Again, I don't really feel much for Minnesota today, so I get it. They are, I guess, tournament plays for sure, though. Jared Allen, negative 8% leverage. It's just not going to be as good of a run out for him. Having Harden in, but 7K salary, I think he's still worth being with the fields. 10% ownership. And Noah Clowney, the field is at 8%. Stokastic, or field's at 16%, only giving you 8. So that's negative 8% leverage for Noah Clowney as well. Clowney theoretically 1 year more direct levers against Danny Wolf because like they do shoot kind of the same shots, and Clowney can just eat possessions that lead to Wolf not getting shots up. Hard to love Clowney though because he's not playing enough minutes. Let's do a hand build, guys. I know the fellas always come here for a handy. Never get Buzelis right. I had a really good run with Buzelis for a couple weeks, and then I tried to go back to him when we had the trade happen. And he was just like not the same guy. And I watched that game too, and I'm like, oh, this is not the same Buzelis we're getting. I think his run was really like that point where there was no Giddy out there. Kobe White coming in and out. Now that we have like 4 guards, we're just again literally just buzzing around trying to take every possession. It's not good for him, but yeah, and he's also not rebounding enough, not blocking enough. Like that's all stuff that he needs to do more of, but he's not. All right, let's build this out here. Could go to my matrix screen because I think it's the best way to hand build in the whole gosh darn world. Devin Carter's our point guard, I think, no matter what. Could go to a Collier here as well, but let's go Carter first. Do you know what? Actually, let me go back here. I'm going to put Carter at shooting guard. I'm going to put Collier at point guard. I'm going to put Strother at small forward. Because I do like Strother, but I don't need to use him at a guard spot. I think it's harder to fill small forward today. So I'm going to go Strother there. Power forward for me would be Wolf, Cardwell, Bay. I'll go Wolf first. Center, Wolf, Jokic, Cardwell. Let's go Jokic. Guard, Sexton, Suggs, Simons, all the S's. Let me get in Dylan Cardwell first at forward. Sims gonna love him, and he does look like a top play for me as well. 65-50 left for guard and utility. Let's put in Sexton and let's see what that gives us at utility. The sex man at guard, as all his friends call him. I could only presume. Domantas Sabonis not playing enough minutes. Julius Randle, not a fun play. Trey Murphy versus Sacramento, that works. That's a fun utility play. The team here, we're going to try to sim out Collier, Carter, Strother, Wolf, Nikola Jokic, Sexton, Dylan Cardwell, Trey Murphy. 29% ROI. What would it give me instead of Sexton and Murphy? Let's see. KPJ and Diabate. So Collier, Carter, Strother, Wolf, Jokic, KPJ, Dylan Cardwell, Musa Diabate, 78% ROI. So they love that lineup. Well, I think that's the base. Really, no matter what. I mean, whether you want to listen to me or Stokastic, the Cardwell, Wolf, Jokic, Carter base, that's going to be a lot of people's base system today. Like, and I think it should be, but just knowing that, that's going to be 4 guys the people deploy right away. So, maybe again, pay up elsewhere, different value, but you still got some other spots to get different, I guess. I'm gonna give you guys my splash plays for the day. Before I do that, one more ask, guys. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You know the deal here. Again, I'm just one dude showing you my gambling in the NBA every Monday to Friday at 2 p.m. I do the work as thoroughly and as best I can to give you guys a leg up heading into the home stretch. I know the NBA can be tough, but I am still here every day, whether it is a $5 tournament for 100K up top or those crappy 10K tournaments where they're giving us no money these days. I'm still showing up. I love NBA DFS. I love DFS in general, and I hope I can add value to your guys' process every day. So join along for the ride and hit that like button and subscribe. Check out Stokastic as well, 15% off. Again, link down below. Go over there and then use the promo code SPLASH. Have to enter that to get the money off, so make sure you use that promo code when you go over. But big way I'm able to do what I'm doing here is Stokastic, and what they provide me as an affiliate. So click that link, use the promo code SPLASH over there, and get your 15% off with that promo code SPLASH. And last but not least, join the channel here. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing, go to splashplaypodcast.com. You can see all the various things that you get when you join the Squirt Squad and VIP tiers. But if you just join the $5 tier, get into the live chats, get into the Discord, you'll get some value to the video. So please show some love, join down below, and I will keep doing the things I'm doing here to make sure it's as good as possible. All right, splash plays today. Shout out Oki Astro. That's it. Shout out Oki Astro for joining. Love to see that. All right, splash plays should be pretty obvious. The big four, I think you have to get to at least with the field on. Carter, Caldwell, Wolf, and Jokic. They're all splash plays today. Again, Jokic, I think, will be in half my lineups. Probably not more than that because the field's going to be there, but just think you want to make sure you're getting him. If he were in 66% of my lineups, I wouldn't be mad. Besides them, Collier's still a splash play for me. Strother, definitely more of a splash play for me in the field, though he might come up for the field. Sadiq Bey, I would say a little bit behind, but he'll come up for me, I'm pretty sure. And Buzelis is probably going to come up for me too, but more of my core plays. Jalen Johnson being out would also move things around, so keep an eye out for that, guys. And stay tuned. My data will update as things update throughout the NBA slate, so keep that in mind. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on these Splash Play channels. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets on YouTube, at Splash Play Pod on Twitter. And I'll see you guys again soon. So, hey, enjoy your days. Good luck. Shouts to all the sickos out there joining in today on this first NBA day without the NFL in our lives. But I'll see you guys again soon. So, good luck tonight, guys. And let's take that with that $100K, $5 tournament. Somebody's got to do it. Hopefully me, but hopefully you too. All right. Bye, guys.